Look, I'm sorry about this. My client is native. What happened on native ground. BIA has this under control, and you guys don't have any authority here. This is a native matter. We handle our own. Now, I don't know what you think you're going to do by putting this man in this American court, but he is a citizen of this tribe. We handle our own. I don't give a damn. The victim was not native. The victim was not invited to the res. He had no place here. He has no business on our land. In fact, if you want to get serious, none of you have a place on this land. We just was nice enough to let you come here from a country that persecuted you for your religious beliefs. The victim was not sacrificed. The victim tried to harm a native person on native land. What part of this are you not understanding? The victim was unalived for doing something facetious, and he came into the dwelling of a native man. And since he came into the dwelling of a native man, let me use you a non-native terms. He was in the wrong. My client had every right to put 13 arrows through his chest. 15. Okay, my client put 15 arrows through his chest. Are you saying one arrow would have done it? No. Let me explain something to you. A man comes into your house, uninvited. You have 3 daughters and 1 son, all of them under the age of 13. This man is going to bring you bodily harm when he breaks into your dwelling. My client was in fear for his life. He does not have a firearm, because on this res, we're not allowed to have firearms. We only have bows and arrows. That's it. Now, the only catch-22 we have here is that the man broke into the house of the archery champion. He's a worldwide archery champion. He knows what he's doing with that bow. He does not leave that bow. He competes. You're fucking fella there with the 15 arrows in his chest had no business, 1, on native land, and 2, coming into the dwelling of a man who has 4 children to protect and a wife. Now his wife, she was out working. She's not a native, but she married into the native. This man should not be taken from his wife or his children for defending his dwelling. But yet, here you go, you want to come up on native land, wave your little badges around and all this other stuff, and not considering the fact that this man, 1, not a native, and 2, broke into a dwelling, 3, with the intention to do bodily harm. Those 3 things right there should put my client on the innocence test. But of course, because he's a man of color, a native man, you're not going to give him a fair trial. This is the same thing that you do to blacks and Asians and poor white people who can't afford lawyers. Where big-time murderers get to walk free. Big-time rapists get to walk free. Big-time child trafficking, big-time child murderers and child predators, they get to walk free. Missing and murdered indigenous people is a thing. And this reservation has lost 30 people because of that freak right there that got 15 arrows in the chest, breaking into dwellings and taking children. This native man has 4 children, 3 daughters and 1 son. This native man is the archery champion worldwide. The world knows him. Maybe you guys forgot about that time the athlete that was handicapped shot his girlfriend and got away. Or maybe you forgot about the time the other people have done nefarious shit and got away. And those people were not native or people of color. But this man, who was not a person of color, comes into a native residence, breaks into the dwelling of a man with 4 children, 3 daughters and 1 son, all under the age of 13. And this guy gets 15 arrows in the chest, give or take. One might have hit him in the throat. Nothing he didn't deserve, because he broke into the dwelling and he crossed native territory without permission. I mind you that the time of entry of the perpetrator's house was 3 a.m. My client just finished putting all his kids to bed because there was no school the next day. So they did what most people do. They have fun. They stayed up past their bedtime. He also did that because he knew that the wife wasn't at home. We all know that the wives run the show. And you're mad because my client put 15 arrows into a man's chest, defending his dwelling. The court's going to be unfair. But we have a compromise. This man will give up 2 years of competing and be confined to our reservation versus an American prison cell, which is where you want to put him for the rest of his life. We all know that's happened before. We remember the American Indian movement. We also remember the movie True Heart or Thunderheart with Val Kilmer that was based on loosely true events. We're not going to stand here and let that happen. So we propose a compromise that he gives up his archery career for 2 to 5 years max, 7 max, and he stays on this reservation. He does not leave for any reason whatsoever. Not for competition, not for hunting expeditions, nothing. He's to stay at his dwelling for the next 5 to 7. What would you do if it was you? If someone broke into your dwelling and they tried to unalive your 3 daughters and your 1 son, you wouldn't waste no time putting a round down the throat of that bastard. Our reservation doesn't allow guns. The only people allowed to have guns on our reservation are tribal police. That's it. So I give you my client and our deal. It's up to you to take it. And if you're a wise man, you would take it. Because any day, at any time, you could be in that chair. You could be the victim of defending and protecting your dwelling and sentenced for doing the right thing. Maybe you guys will take that into consideration. I rest my case.